So tomorrow we will begin by interviewing 4 appointees that the county executive has sent over. I think the county executive made good choices. He's promoting from within in 2 departments. He's making Chief Scott Goldstein our permanent chief of the Fire and Rescue Service, and making Rob Green the permanent director of the Department of Corrections. I've heard only good things about both gentlemen. I think they're broadly popular within their departments and very knowledgeable and experienced. So I think those are good hires. We're all delighted with our former colleague Cherie Branson becoming Director of Procurement. I think that that's a terrific move on the county executive's part, and that office needs a lot of attention. And given the work that Cherie did while she was here, she's a vigorous advocate for small and minority businesses, and so I just think that was a very good move. And Michael Smith, I don't know as well as the other 3. He has a good reputation. We agreed to create this position of development ombudsman, and I have every reason to think that the county executive's choices will be honored in all 4 of these cases. So we'll be interviewing them, and then in the afternoon we will have a conversation I'm looking forward to very much with Chief Manger regarding community relations. There have been a series of discussions between the chief and community groups, and my impression, and I'm keeping my fingers crossed that this remains the case, is that we are just not seeing the kind of deep anger and disappointment in our minority communities that has been experienced in communities like Baltimore or Ferguson. And I think Chief Manger deserves a lot of the credit. He's available. Either he or his assistant chiefs go out to community meetings, and they've given me permission to, to tell the community that they are available. They will meet, they will attend meetings, they will sit on panels, they will respond to questions, and I think their accessibility is noteworthy and should be commended. So Chief Manger, I know, has thought long and hard about the events that led up to the unrest in these other communities. I know that it's been a real learning opportunity, a teachable moment within the police department. I know that officers are talking about these issues a great deal. We are moving in the direction of implementing body cameras, and I think Chief Manger will go into significant detail about other steps that the department is taking. So our year tends to be divided into 3 parts. We take up the budget, and then when the budget's done, we have a break, and then after the break is over, which is now the break is over, we have a brief period of very intense legislative activity, and then we take another break in August when you can't get any work done anyway because the whole Washington, D.C. area shuts down, and then we have another period of intense legislative activity in the fall. My top 3 priorities for this period of legislative activity are the Economic Development Corporation bill, creating this new Economic Development Corporation, the restriction on the use of toxic lawn chemicals, the pesticide bill, and the enactment of a sick and safe leave bill. And I'm optimistic that we can move all 3 of those measures before we go on August break, and I'll be working to that end. We have a committee meeting in the Health and Human Services Committee scheduled on the sick and safe leave bill this Thursday, the 11th. I'm hoping that we will have a vote on the bill and report it out to the full council. And I'm hoping it'll be favorable. I'm not allowed under open meetings law to discuss directly with Mr. Rice or Mr. Berliner their views on the bill. I hope they support it. President Obama supports it, and President Obama has been urging state and local governments to act on sick and safe leave because Congress is paralyzed. So I'm optimistic that we can get a strong bill out of committee and before the full council very promptly. On the pesticide measure, Chairman Berliner has scheduled a meeting on June 15th. That should give us ample time to report a bill out to the full council before the end of July, and that would be my goal. So those are the top priorities. And on the economic development bill, we have a public hearing tomorrow afternoon. There are 14 speakers who we will accommodate. and I don't think there's any waiting list. There had been some question about whether we were going to turn people away. I don't think we will have to turn people away tomorrow afternoon. So, so I'll yield and take any questions that members of the media may want to ask.
What is your concern on the pesticide bill? I've heard there's been some wavering support of that particular bill. Are you still optimistic?
Well, I have a majority of the council on the pesticide bill who have already co-sponsored the bill. So I'm hoping that we can get a good, strong bill. I think there are some misunderstandings. I mean, I know that the Farm Bureau, Montgomery County Farm Bureau, doesn't support the bill, but it does not affect agriculture. Agriculture is specifically exempted. We got a communication from the Agriculture Advisory Commission saying that because of the need to control noxious weeds, we should not support the bill, but the control of noxious weeds is also exempted from the bill. So, you know, we've already accommodated in the drafting of the bill some of the significant objections to the bill. And so I'm hoping we can get a good bill, but, you know, it's not only up to me. There's 9 of us here, and I need to get 5 council members to support it, and more than 5 have co-sponsored it. So, you know, I'm optimistic that we can get it done either in June or July.
And I know Councilmember Berliner had sent a letter to the Attorney General's office trying to clarify some concerns on that front, or seeing what alterations could be made. Have you heard back from the Attorney General?
So Councilmember Berliner seems to be taking it as a given that state law preempts the county. Our staff strongly disagrees. Our staff believes that we do have standing to act in this area, that we have not been preempted by the state. And so that will be a discussion in committee. I have not spoken with Mr. Berliner or his office about the memo that he sent. I wasn't given any heads up about it, so I can't really go into detail on his thinking, but I do not agree with his memo, and I do not support the alternatives that he proposes.
And on the body cameras front, are you expecting, have there been any updates on the timeline, or is it still thinking probably by the end of June, I think was the last that I heard?
We'll find out more about that when we talk to Chief Major tomorrow.
Okay.
I saw listed on here that there is a decision to hire a special counsel for the Silver Spring Transit Center.
Yes.
Can you talk a little bit about that?
Well, the county is going to be seeking full recovery of all costs incurred by the county from the contractors and subcontractors who committed the errors. The contractors and subcontractors will not willingly forfeit millions of dollars, and so it's extremely likely that litigation will ensue. And the county attorney's office feels that it needs resources beyond those available in its own shop. So the county has made available outside counsel on the assumption that there's going to be litigation.
Is there a budget on that, or is it just a review?
Well, we haven't incurred any cost yet.
Right.
So, no, there's no cap. I mean, we just don't know yet. We don't know the nature of the litigation. We don't know who's bringing suit. You know, it's far too early to try to estimate a cost.
Do you have any reason to believe that any council members would object to Saul Ewing as the appointment?
I've not heard any objections to outside counsel. I haven't spoken with council members about it, but if the county attorney says we need some help, that this is a very complex issue and that our own resources can't handle it, my view is that seems reasonable to retain outside counsel. But I haven't polled the rest of the county council on that. Any other questions?
I understand there's a town hall meeting this Wednesday at Leisure World?
Yes, we're going to Leisure World to hear from our constituents and find out what's on their minds. That's a routine thing. We meet with communities, and it's just a routine meeting with our constituents. There's no particular agenda other than whatever the residents of Leisure World would like to talk about. Okay, anything further? All right, nice seeing you all. Thank you very much.